Hey guys, good morning. It's a beautiful Saturday, April 19th today, and my name is Tammy Anderson Ward, and I'm the producer of the Energy Healing Conference, and I'm joining today with a very special speaker. We have incredible people coming to the upcoming St. George Energy Healing Conference happening in 2 weeks from today. And you guys, May 3rd is going to be such a special day at the Hilton Garden Inn in St. George. This is, I don't even know how many times we've been there, because even though we've been going there for 11 years, there's been many years that we've come multiple times, whether it's to do retreats or multiple conferences. It's just been a really special venue. It's kind of like a little oasis down there of really good, strong healing energy down there. And we just really appreciate the people that are there. And then we also happen to have people from other states around join, at that conference as well. We've got people from Las Vegas that travel over, people that actually have flown in from Canada before, gone to the Las Vegas airport and then driven over. We've got people that have come from Palm Springs area, San Diego area, Oceanside, that have traveled over from California to attend the St. George event. We also have people coming from Arizona and other parts of Nevada, and of course, Utah and even Colorado. So I'm just so grateful for the beautiful gathering that happens each time we do an event in St. George. This one's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn, and the doors will open starting at 8 a.m., and the first 100 people will actually have a beautiful little gift bundle that will get to go to them. So you definitely want to plan to attend early if that kind of speaks to you, if that calls to you. Vendors will be offering products and services throughout the entire day, and they end right around 7 o'clock. Some people have asked me, what kind of things are important to bring with you for just like maximum comfort? And I would recommend either bringing a yoga mat if you're wanting to participate in some of the activities. You can even bring a blanket or a pillow for the breath work or the guided meditation where you'll be laying down. That room is set up where it's all open space. And so people just kind of come in and gather in. It's going to be so incredible. Esperanza Marie from the Hilldale area is going to be coming in with her husband, Todd, and they're going to be leading a breath work both at 9 a.m. in the morning and then also again later in the day at 5 p.m. And if you know either one of them, they are just incredible powerhouses. I just love them both. At 6 o'clock, we'll also be having Alana Marmel from the Pocatello, Idaho area coming in. And she travels all over and does drum circles in Sedona and South Dakota and Montana and Wyoming and New Mexico. She travels all over the place. And I'm so excited. She's going to be coming from Pocatello, Idaho this time, all the way down to our St. George conference and leading a community-wide drum circle. And that's going to be the grand finale of the day from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And anyone is welcome to join in on that. For that beautiful experience. So I'm so excited about this, and the other participants, the other speakers, and the other vendors that are coming in. We just have quite an array of people. So it's going to be really exciting. And today I want to be able to introduce one of those speakers with you. Let's see, she's texting me now. And if you do not yet have tickets, I'm going to go ahead and share the link in the comments here so that you can click on it. You can get more details, more information if you would like to come yourself. And I do have a handful of free tickets that I can do today as a generous gift from our sponsors. So if you are interested in coming and you do not have yet tickets just yet, here's my email. I'm going to go ahead and put it across the screen so that you can see it. Go ahead and tell me that you saw this today, and then I'm happy to have you. I'll just send you a free ticket link. It's super easy. Takes you less than a minute to fill it out. No credit card required because there's no payment. And it's so exciting. I'm so pumped. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and send this over to her really quick. And my family might be in the background a little bit because it is a Saturday, you know, especially like they just got back from the Easter egg hunt and all that kind of stuff. But we'll be joining in today with, let me go ahead and introduce you to our speaker, who is Dr. Mignon Walker. And I'm very excited to introduce you to her today. She is a Stanford-trained physician, researcher, and visionary. And she's also one of the founders of the SOAR Protocol, which is blending advanced somatic science with proprietary emotional recalibration. Dr. Walker, you guys, is based right now in the Provo area, but she's going to be traveling down to the St. George conference and speaking there. So she empowers clients and practitioners to resolve trauma, restore core beliefs, and build lasting resilience. Don't miss out on this first ever opportunity to learn directly from a pioneer transforming the future of emotional wellness. I'm very pleased to be able to bring her on today. I want to ask her some questions. If you are watching right now and you're like, I have some questions that I would like to ask, will you take a moment to go ahead in the comments and tell us what kind of questions that you have? Okay. I have a few for her and I'm really excited. I'm going to go ahead and read her class description for you as well. It says, resolve self-sabotage, unworthiness, and overwhelm with quantum somatic techniques. Evolve beyond coping, controlling, breathwork, and mindfulness to achieve lasting results as you resolve self-sabotage, feelings of unworthiness, and triggers for overwhelm. Unleash quantum-inspired transformation where other modalities may fail, and enjoy feeling safe and empowered as you unlock your full potential. Experience the benefits or master our proprietary somatic protocols. So I'm super excited to be able to bring her on today. If you've ever wondered what kind of things are out there for something like this, you may be very curious, maybe very interested in this. I'm so excited. All right. Again, if you do not have free tickets yet and you are interested in coming, go ahead and email me. I'll put my email up across the screen here, Tammy@hopehavenevents.com. And I'd be happy to go ahead and hook you up. It'll be really fun. Also, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the comments for you to be able to find out about all of the other speakers. So that you can kind of check those out. There is going to be a lot of hands-on, of course, products and services as well. So very exciting stuff all happening at the upcoming St. George Energy Healing Conference on May 3rd, which is in 2 weeks from today. And if you're watching this on the replay and maybe you missed it, maybe it's after the fact, don't worry, don't stress out. You can still go ahead and reach out to Dr. Mignon Walker. We'll go ahead and put her website and her information up on the screen here. Dr. Walker, I can see that you're behind the scenes. Are you ready to go? Give me a thumbs up when you're ready and we'll go ahead and get you on. All right, you're awesome. Cool. You guys, this is such an exciting thing for me to be able to bring on somebody who has been working with individuals for so long. It is just such an exciting thing. And the fact that she's working with people doing quantum somatic techniques like this, it's just so powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on and introduce her. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. Happy to be with you this morning.
I'm so happy to have you here as well. You are amazing. I'm going to go ahead and go off screen just for a moment and give you the opportunity to share a little bit about your story and how you got started here while I go grab my computer cord. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Dr. Walker. I'm I'm a physician, and I've been working primarily, my backstory is I started off in general surgery. I actually jumped off that ship when I had a 4-pound baby and then found myself in family practice. I've always been results oriented. And during the COVID epidemic, I noticed, so many people were struggling with stress and overwhelm and just kind of losing it. And so I looked into some treatments of like, what can we do to get people better, on a better page? And one of the things I found was ketamine. And ketamine, the science is pretty solid about the neuroplasticity or increasing the communication between nerve cells in your brain that can open you up to problem solving and having new ideas. And I tried that. So I tried a ketamine clinic, and I realized that without very specific guidance, people not only, the ketamine is good for neuroplasticity, but it doesn't really, you need specific guidance along with it. So I then set off to figure out what was the best way to really get people the support they needed through the ketamine. And I landed on a somatic treatment or a somatic method that was pretty compelling. However, my experience with it was that believe it or not, even that had potholes. So so I started thinking, what can we do to really combine these things and how can we fix it? And I applied myself to that. And what I came up with is the SOAR protocol. And with the SOAR protocol, we not only use the back door, so your brain has the speaking parts, that cortex that is logical, it analyzes, synthesizes, and plans, it executes, it tries to keep you out of danger. Really, that's the focus, the main part, the main point of the cortex. And then there's the limbic system, which are the deeper structures that are responsible for feeling. That's where we have our emotions and our sensations and our feedback from our body. And that's really kind of where the intuition comes from, and all the parts that really keep us not only safe, but like are important for fast learning. So if you touch a hot pot, or maybe you didn't know it was hot, that's what you don't have to think about it. Like the thinking part is the cortex. That's a little bit slower, or a lot slower. The limbic system is immediate, and that's where people are really having their problems. That's the home of the fight or flight responses. So that's where you get the muscle tension, the fear, the anxiety, the anger, sadness, and the numbness. That's all in the limbic system. So having that as a primary target really ups the game for improving people's emotional wellness. So that's what brought me to it. And if I need to, okay. So what I have found is, oh, there you are. I wasn't
Sorry,
sure if
I'm
I
here.
did
I
that.
just had to find my little computer, the little block that you plug into the
No
wall. I
problem.
found it. We're
Should
good.
I go ahead and describe some of the exciting results I get with the SOAR protocol?
I would love that. I would love to have you have the opportunity to share more, because our energy healing conference actually attracts both practitioners and people who are just, wanting to be able to get their own support. So it's like both. And I think that they'd really be interested in that. So go ahead.
Sure. So, like many people know, I mean, all of us have struggled with anxiety or depression at some point, whether it's clinical or subclinical. And we've all faced periods of feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, whether it's just from paying our bills or, bigger stressors that land on our plate. And what happens is a lot of times, it's culturally, we all tend to we learn from an early age to kind of cope with our emotions that are disturbing us. But coping kind of mashes them down. It kind of keeps them in like a pressure cooker. So the more stress you have, you cope with it. You kind of have those feelings, you smash them down, you keep adding more pressure, more stress to that pressure cooker. And we don't really get to have solid ways of processing. And so what the SOAR protocol does is it helps us really to process those feelings so that they're no longer in there, kind of relieving the overall stress and pressure and getting us to a better space. I really focus on building resilience so the results last. For example, I worked with a 24-year-old about 3 years ago who was struggling with daily bouts of panic attacks, constant anxiety, and constant negative self talk. And she told me she could never have kids because all she could teach a child was how to be anxious or have a panic attack, which I've never heard of that. But that's how stressed out she was. She was living in her parents' basement, and the most she could do was work part time as a bank teller. And even then, if someone came in angry or stressed out, it would really send her to the bathroom for like an hour trying to sort herself out. So we spent, she'd been in therapy for 10 years, on meds for 10 years, and really was still in the struggle, still having panic attacks and really having her her life impacted, not really being able to live in joy or maintain any kind of peace and happiness. But after 3 months, so we worked sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, but 3 months later, I was able to wean her off all her meds. I checked in with her 3 years later, and she's still not having any panic attacks, hasn't had a panic attack in 3 years, still not having anxiety. While she'll get anxious, she'll be able to get back to her baseline, which is normal for the nervous system. And all of her self talk now she describes as positive. So it's been a game changer for both her and her husband, who was also struggling with depression and some not being able to work or get into school or anything. So
Wow.
these are the results you can't really get with typical. And I'm a typical, I'm an MD from Stanford. I know what the healthcare system has to offer people with mental health issues who are facing, emotional struggles. And this is really a game changer for that. So it's really, and not only that, but since we're talking specifically to a group of people who are interested in energy work and the understand the importance of that, what I can say is my intuition is up, I would say probably like 300%. So in times where I had wanted to like reach out or connect deeply with clients previously, but couldn't because I was just, too stressed out myself, I find that now that I've gone through the SOAR protocol, my intuition is just, I'm able to use my gifts in my craft in a way that helps my clients. So just as a little unique personal testimonial.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I love hearing stuff like that. That's a big deal. And for people who have tried so many things, it's nice to know that there's some hope out there for somebody who really has a lot of experience in her back pocket. So,
What's interesting is the people that I get, I get all the really difficult cases, but most of the people I work with have tried everything. They've tried EMDR, tried talk therapy. Some people have tried transcranial magnetic stimulation, and it's like $7,000, and they have to pay out of pocket for that. People have tried ketamine and still keep feeling like they have to go back for more. But this is kind of like the end of the road. Like once you build your resilience, once you're back on, once you've and one of the other things that uniquely we focus on and get great results with is addressing core belief wounds, or those wounds where you feel like you're not good enough, you're not lovable, somehow something is wrong with you, you're not empowered. So we address that as well as attachment wounds. So people who just haven't been able to feel safe in relationship because of early childhood trauma, those things can be fixed, and it doesn't take long. It's just like we learn how hot a pot is and when that's dangerous. That's very fast. And when you learn how to process your emotions, the healing of your emotional body also comes very quickly.
that's awesome. Well, so what does SOAR stand for?
Oh my gosh, it's a mouthful. So SOAR stands for somatic, which means body based, autonomic, which means the part of your brain that is automatic. So it's automatically responding either with fear, or, or anger or sadness, all of the fight or flight or survival reflexes, but also those automatic things like when you're able to be calm, to normally digest, to rest, to get good sleep. All of those things are part of the autonomic nervous system. Optimize, so we're optimizing those functions, and we're building resilience. The R is for resilience.
Awesome. That sounds really beautiful. You
Yeah.
know, honestly, I mean, because actually, there are a lot of people who, whether their worldview changed or they've gone through a divorce or even just something really traumatic that wasn't anticipated, sometimes that can be so disorienting for people. It's hard to get back to your baseline. So to be able to go through, now, is this something that people like maybe if they're not even like necessarily a health professional, can people go through this with you?
Absolutely. So not only can people will have the opportunity to be clients to get their own nervous system balance, but I'm also offering for the first time training where I have this proprietary skill set that I'm willing to share with people. And the way I designed it was specifically because I believe it was specifically that anyone could take the course. So I believe we all deserve to be emotionally balanced. We all deserve to feel
Beautiful.
safe in our own skin. And it shouldn't be something you have to seek only from a professional. So there
Yeah.
are some guidelines when people definitely need help beyond what a layperson can do, but there's a wide swath of clients that are potential to work with using this protocol where you don't have to be licensed, but it definitely is a tool, is a tool that every licensed professional should have in their toolkit.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, where can people go to find out about this, or if they want to sign up? Is there a way that people can connect with you online? Maybe they can't even come to the St. George conference, but they're very interested just watching this over the internet, Where would you
Yeah,
like them to go?
absolutely. It would be great if anybody who's interested is welcome to come to the website and learn more. So I've only given you kind of like a little taster, a little teaser about what's involved, but we haven't even discussed like what is the quantum element of this. And quantum stuff is really it's more than it's probably better not
Mhm.
to address here because it gets so embroiled. But all of that is described on the website in somewhat detail, and there's also a link. So the website is it's www. It's important that you type that part in, but www. The SOAR Protocol. So THESOAR and then protocol PROTOCOL.com. And anybody who goes there can interface with me directly by just submitting their information at the form on the bottom of each page.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to go
Mhm.
ahead and grab this link so that I can share it with you guys as well. Um,
Wonderful.
it's Yeah, and I am so grateful. I met you because Raymond reached out, and I want you to know how impressed I have been with Raymond. So your
Yeah,
team,
everybody loves Raymond.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of hard not to love. What's not to love, right? It's just so beautiful. But I want you to know I'm really impressed with how you've gotten your stuff together. It's really going to be able to reach a lot of people, and I'm really grateful because from somebody who, like, I had a desire and a dream to help people and be able to be a bridge and connect people who are looking for resources to people like you, and I know it's no easy feat. It's definitely a sacrifice, and sometimes there's a learning curve to it as well. But I know so many people that I want to introduce you to that I think are going to be very interested in
Well,
your
I can't
offering.
wait.
So
Awesome. Yeah. No, this is really something, especially I think for people who are interested in energy work. I myself, so I didn't tell that part of my story, but so I was a bench worker from Stanford, and so I'm definitely all about data. And my logical brain was definitely leading the show for me for most of my life. And I had a client. So I had an office in Beverly Hills. I had one in LA, and I'm from California. And so one of my Beverly Hills clients came in one day, and she was describing to me how every year she talks to this spiritual healer, and I was like, "What is that? Like that sounds absolutely cuckoo." And so she kind of described to me this guy that she would call every year and he would help her get sort of sorted out. And so I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. I didn't ask, but she gave me his number. And a couple of months later, because I'm super curious, I was like, I wonder what's the deal with that guy. So I'm going to call him up. And I called him up, and oddly enough, I was running late for my appointment, as you might have noticed today. That happens sometimes. Anyways, and so I called this guy, and he was like, "Okay, I need to meditate on you." And I had never meditated. I was like in my 40s. I had never meditated, and I was like, "Okay, sure, yeah, go ahead, whatever you need to do." And so he started. It was quiet on the phone, and I was started, getting a little fidgety. So I reached up like this to adjust the visor. I was still in my car, and the guy was like, Mignon, you need to be still. And I was like, whoa, how did he know I even moved my arm? I didn't make any noise at all. I was like, this is kind of serious. And so then he went through and he read my aura or whatever he was reading. And he went through every part of my body. He was like, that's healthy, that's healthy, that's healthy. And he got down to my right knee and he was like, yeah, but you're having some problems in your knee. And I was thinking, I've never told anybody about these problems. I was kind of keeping that a little secret that Uncle Arthur, a little bit of arthritis is creeping up in my knee. And so he pinpointed that. And then so I was really kind of my jaw was like dropped. Like he didn't mention Mignon, you should close your mouth. But like literally I was sitting in my car like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. And then he kind of went through and he was talking to my spiritual guides and my master teacher and my what was the other one? My spiritual guide, my master teacher, and my guardian angel. And he had a lot to say. You know, all these people were chiming in about what's going on in my life, and it was 100% spot on. But the point that I'm making with this long story is that that day, like I already had spiritual gifts, but that day, that interaction with him was so powerful that it really amplified my own gifts. And so I went through that day, and everybody's hand I shaked, I really got a complete download of what was contributing to their problem, even in their early childhood experiences. Not only did I have a deep understanding of it, but it's like I had an actual, I was getting visuals, I was getting auditory information, but whatever that high level, high vibrational connection I had with him on the phone kind of led me to raising my own vibration. And that particular day, I became extremely clear. And I was really highly aware that, you know, as a physician, this was like the best day of my practice, you know, to be able to have such insight and not only understand people at a deeper level, but also to be able to offer them the kind of advice that they need to really change their lives. Because I would shake their hand, know what was wrong with them, and then my mouth would start moving and saying these weird things that I usually, as a physician, would never say. And I was like, and I was thinking, oh my God, these people are going to call the California Medical Board, and I'm going to lose my license for saying all this stuff, and because it just was so off, my normal guy. Like it just was so unusual for me to say stuff like that. But I would say, does that make any sense to you? And they would, all of them would say, yeah, and it wasn't just like they would agree with me. It's like they were shifted. I could see a physical shift in their face. And so I kind of understand how that energy, stuff becomes awakened in us, and then our ability to tap into that, I should say. And then also, I can tell you that I wanted every day of my life to be like that day where I was so clear, so connected, so selfless in my ability to work with people. But it was a struggle. It was honestly a struggle. And like one big thing, something could come and get me off guard. And then I would kind of like not be able to tap in. And what I can tell you is that when you clear your emotional slate, when you like work through all of the parts of you that feel like you're not good enough or you're not worthy, and certainly when you level your ability to be in relationships fully and be safe, it really sets that part of your psyche on fire. That part of your being really gets to be free, so that I can bring my gifts to every aspect of my life, my parenting, my work, my everything. I don't charge for my gifts, but I don't disrespect people who do, but knowing that people do, that it's such a big part of everyone's, the way we show up. I can just say that having the SOAR protocols really helped me and other healers to really get back on fire. Sometimes we lose our fire, we kind of get distracted, our life gets to us, and it's a really powerful way to clear your slate, not just like for the night or for the retreat or for the conference, but for the rest of your life. Like what I have learned, even I did my work like 5 years ago. I'm still impacted by it, and people continue to benefit from it.
That's amazing. I am so excited I want to do it now. Gosh, you're like,
We can do a session. Absolutely. You should do it. Oh my God. Let's, after that, when we finish, let's go ahead and schedule you for a couple. And I'm happy to comp you on a couple sessions. So
oh
you
my
can really
gosh,
get
that'd be so
an
cool.
understanding, right? Because it's like something that changes your life. And not only it changes your life, but it changes your how you show up for the people in your life. So like your children are impacted. I have healed, I have worked or helped people. I've held the container so people can heal their generational traumas, things that have been holding them back, particularly women, for generations. And they're able to shift that in themselves, shift that for their daughters and their sons, and continue their lives with an empowered sense of how they can show up and be impactful.
That's amazing. Can I ask you a couple more questions? Do you have time for
Absolutely.
a couple more?
I
Okay.
do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I could just talk to you for hours, but I know that you're like holding your phone and it's Saturday and all the things. So I
And I
won't.
didn't find good lighting. I'm all mad that I found a beautiful tree to sit in front of in my neighborhood. My house is so loud. I have like a whole bunch of cats, and they're all, as soon as I start talking, they start talking. So I was like, let me run out and find a quiet place down the street. And it's anyways, the sun is
Beautiful.
not cooperating, but.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I actually really like the natural lighting. It's so beautiful. So,
Oh, thank you.
but I do have a question. So, the SOAR protocol, is this something that you could use for people who are disabled who
Yes, absolutely. So I work online exclusively. I mean, it's powerful. We're a powerful presence. Face to face. But as you know, as an energy healer, we don't have to be with people in the room. You can be across the globe. You can be, it doesn't have, it works on everybody. It doesn't matter if you're disabled in any particular way. As long as you can follow directions, you can do it. As long, if you want to be a practitioner and you're disabled, I mean, my God, what a wonderful way to empower yourself to really do a lot of good for a lot of people online. So yeah, in any capacity, either receiving or giving, it's 100% something that disabled people can participate
that's
with.
amazing. I literally have never asked anybody that question before. I'm like, that is the most random question. So maybe
Mhm.
somebody watching needed to have that question. I don't
Well,
know.
thank you.
I'm like, have I ever asked that question before? Have anyone ever? Nope, nope, I haven't. That's very interesting. But I love that you do work online because that means you probably train people online too, right? So people, no matter where they are, could learn how
It's
to do
true.
this
Anybody
protocol.
around the world can learn it. And so, whether you're a licensed clinician, a mental health specialist, if you're a life coach or an emotional coach, or there's sexual coaches, there's all kinds of coaches out there. Um, you know, what in most of so traditionally, before I knew this kind of technique, I, like them, was working at the level of trying to convince people, or give them a lot of facts on how they can get better, what they need to do to improve their health or their wellness or whatever. But as you know, I don't know, I'm just assuming that you're like me, but there are often times in our lives where we have a very strong emotional appeal to something, like we just feel strongly about it, and it triggers our emotions. You can't, like, some people fall in love with people who abuse them. Some people can't stop believing in something that they see is actively hurting them or someone else. And it's hard to convince them to do otherwise, because sometimes our conscious brain can override our reflexes. Like, our heart rate may go up, and we can kind of use our breathing techniques. We can use mindfulness techniques. Those are what I call somatic 101, or those are basic somatic techniques.
Mhm.
However, it's really horrible to live a life where you're constantly being triggered and having to apply techniques to kind of unravel those triggers, and knowing that as soon as you face a similar circumstance in the future, you're going to be triggered again. And so with the SOAR protocol, we kind of work so deeply in the nervous system that you get a chance to restore or reboot your nervous system in a way that you're engaging those. Like, if you watch a little kid who falls down, they don't think after their 50th time falling on their butt that I shouldn't walk, I should crawl. Like, I'm just giving up on that. Like, no, they get back. Sometimes you can't even give them time. They bounce up. They're like rubber. They're so fast to get back on their feet. And that's really what we as humans should be like. When we face adversity, we should be able to rebound very quickly. We should be able to learn. But I didn't mention this, and this is actually something I learned when I was going through this protocol, is that when we're overwhelmed by our emotions, it shuts down our prefrontal cortex. So that part of our brain that's right next to where the limbic system is. So they're touching, they're in communication, but it will shut down your thinking part of your brain, so that even though you go to a talk therapist or you go to your coach or whatever you're doing, and you understand what you should do, you can't execute it, because you go right, your amygdala or your parts of your limbic system are so hyper focused or so hyper vigilant that they just immediately kick back in. And again, it's below the level of thinking, so it's reflexive. You can't really get ahead of your limbic system, but you can balance your emotions, which balances your limbic system, which improves your neuroplasticity, which kind of all the things that you're trying to do in so many other ways, so that you can be more impactful in every area of your life. So it's really, to me, it's a game changer. If it wasn't the best way to do something, honestly, I wouldn't waste my time with it. So that's how much I believe in it. And I'm a physician. I have so many things that I could be doing at my fingertips, and some things I continue to. And don't get me wrong, use breath work and we use mindfulness in are those are very important components of the technique, but that's not where it ends. That's kind of where we begin, and then the advanced methods or techniques that I've actually personally developed that I know no one else is doing, is what I'll be teaching in my course, so that people can go beyond breath work. This is like the course you take when you get a little taste. And I love breath work, so getting certified in that is actually not something I would say don't do. But if you want to go beyond that to reach people in a way that the work can be super impactful, even I work with breath workers. I've had yoga instructors as my personal clients. And
Awesome.
even though they dedicate their lives to helping other people be more balanced, they're still struggling. A lot of that therapists, I mean, you name it, doctors, we're all human. And the fact that is that because we're all human and we're all wired the same way in terms of our nervous system, how it's built, the SOAR protocol is a pretty universal tool that just about moms can use. I mean, I can't tell you how many days as a mom I wish I could do better. Like I could be better at that. I didn't yell at my kids, and I'm so embarrassed to say that. And I know this is going on the internet. I almost said to the universe, but this is going to the internet. but but it's true. Like so many days, I wish I could have been, had more patience, or like had, my kids see the best parts of me when, I would come home after work tired, and I'm like sometimes they just got, Oscar the garbage can monster. Like it would just be so grumpy. It was so horrible. But now I can say I have the same kids, I'm the same mom, but I'm so much better because now I don't get grumpy. I don't get like, I don't feel so frustrated that that's all I can do. Like now I have so much balance that even if they do something that they did before that used to get me, get under my skin and get me all cranked up, now it just doesn't have that impact. And I'm able to show them, so all they get from me is the love, the pure supportive love that, they deserve as my children. And even though I raised them to be resilient, and I'm not saying I was a horrible mom, but I just, we can all do better. And it's part of our growth is being able to look at ourselves honestly and say, hey, I did a fantastic job, but man, if I had just tweaked this one little thing, I could have done it so much better. And that's what I'm saying. Most of us try our best. But it's just still, are you doing your best? And this is an opportunity to be your best as a mom or as a practitioner or as an employee or as a business owner. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing. Well, I've been doing a lot of self introspection. Just this week, I had a friend who's actually has been a past speaker and vendor and retreat attendee and facilitator over the last 11 years. She's passed away, and left behind 4 kids. In fact, one of her daughters is getting married next week, and my heart has just been so like tender. You know what I mean? Thinking about her and like what could, if this was, she's like maybe 6 months older than me, so it's like so close to home.
mhm,
She
mhm.
made such an impact and made such a difference in so many people's lives. What you're saying is like really resonating with me. I could literally feel my heart chakra just like waving with this beautiful warm energy as
What?
you're sharing
Right?
this.
And the other thing I just want to say, because I've had people close to me transition as well, and even at an early age, my brother committed suicide when I was 18. I was clinically depressed for 6 months. It was the worst 6 months of my entire life as a student away at college by myself and trying to manage that. And what I can tell you is, I used to not even be able to discuss it. Like yourself, I'd be choked up and really just trying to be strong, but put on a strong veneer. But really, inside, I was crumbling. And what I can say is that through that experience, though, I have learned when so getting back to that energy healer that actually he was a medium that I had that call with. At the end of the call, he was like, "Your brother's here," and I was like, "What? My brother?" He didn't know my brother had passed, and so he was like, would you like to know what he wants to say?" And I was like, "Sure, how to talk to my brother." 30 years, of course, I want to know what he has to say. And he went on to describe the message my brother wanted to share with me in my brother's words. These were the words of my brother. Like that guy was an older guy, didn't have the same vernacular as my brother, didn't have the same tone or the same vocabulary, but it's like the words came right out of my brother's mouth. And what I just want to share with you, because I feel your pain right now, is that people transition, but they never leave us. I'm not a believer that people go anywhere. And so while her physical body won't be with you at the wedding, her energy, her spirit 100% will be there. And I hope they're able to find a way to create a space where they acknowledge that. So, like, my mom has transitioned my dad, and like, oftentimes I take my kids, we'll go for a walk up here. I live, on the foothills. We'll go up in the mountains and we'll just kind of share stories about my mom, and we'll invite that energy to be with us. so that she's never forgotten. And those people live on in our hearts and in our conversations. And now you've
Mhm.
shared your friend with me. I don't have her name, but I feel that golden light that you're describing, and I feel that warmth. And I just want to say thank you for sharing that. But really, in your heart, when you go to that wedding, look for her. Like, open your mind to just be like, where, how does she show up here? And, what can you experience in that day that includes her, because that energy still wants to be included and a part. So,
Well,
anyways, yeah, thank you for sharing
well,
that.
yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. That was super tender, and I loved hearing more about your own personal experience as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I have this like popular podcast that I watch from time to time in Utah, and
Mhm.
just yesterday I listened to one of his latest episodes where he was slamming on Reiki, and I'm listening to it and I'm like, he doesn't even know that there's all this research. There's many doctors who've attended my conferences who are Reiki masters themselves and who utilize energy healing techniques. There is why? Because they're worthwhile, they're useful, they're effective in many instances.
I
So
understand that. Yeah, and I understand the medical mind because, like I said, I came off the bench. I did 5 years of bench research, discovering facts, quote unquote facts myself. And all I can say is people believe what they've experienced, and a lot of people haven't fully experienced the magnitude of how impactful energy work can be. And until you do, you will be a skeptic. I mean, there's just, again, you can't convince people who are convinced that something they're wrong
mhm.
by addressing them in a very intellectual way, because there's a that's where we want to fight. We want to dig in, and we want to disagree. But when people have an experience of energy work, that was that was my conversation with that guy Carl on the phone. Nothing would have told me that stuff would have been real. I would have been laughing, like, "Oh yeah, sure you can, touch with my spiritual guides, yeah, whatever." My master healer or whatever, this kind of stuff. My master teacher, you know. But
Yeah.
he did. I didn't have to. He didn't have to tell me what he was going to do. In fact, he didn't tell me what he was going to do. He just did it. And that is actually that brings me back to what I do in the SOAR protocol. I don't have to tell you what I'm how much healing is going to be possible for you.
Mhm.
You just experience it, you discover it. And part of it is that we tap into that part of your brain that learns like a child. I don't explain to you all the roadblocks and the things. I just keep you safe, just like you would when you walk a child across the street. You don't let them fall in a pothole. You don't let them get hit by a car. You don't let them, wander off
Yeah.
the cliff. And that's what I do with the SOAR protocol. I know kind of, I've been, it's kind of, I don't know if you've watched that show. What is it called? Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Are you familiar with that show?
Oh, yeah. I
You
have
know how there's a guy, they give him a drachma so he can take them across to Hades, like that,
yeah.
on that, and back.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm the guy with the hood taking people's drachmas to get them across to like the hellish parts of their nervous system. People might say that's their shadow. But people can do shadow work for years and never get through it because our mind, our psyche is full of blind spots. I
Wow.
can't tell you how many times I thought I've been doing my own personal self work for years, and how I thought, oh, great, woohoo, I'm at the top of the mountain, only to find out like behind me is like a bigger mountain. Just
Yeah.
barely getting started. Ah! So really with the SOAR protocol, it's like it's a way of getting into that Buddha energy. Like, it
Mhm.
sounds really weird to say that, but not after 25 years of sitting under a tree, like, or however long Siddhartha did. It doesn't take years and years. When you know the path, you can guide people to it, and they can discover for themselves what's there for them. I don't do any programming, so I'm really 100% against programming. I feel like I have my own brain and I can think for myself, and I believe the same is true for other people. And my truths may be a little different from your truths. I don't teach my truths. I just teach people how their nervous system works and let them discover for themselves how big the world is and how much of a potential they have to participate in that and however they want to participate. So that's all I support. I support families. I support individuals. I love that I can support women. I feel like a spiritual doula. I've had so many sessions
Wow,
where
I like
people,
that.
right? That's just honestly what it feels like. People come in thinking they're going to get emotionally balanced, and they come out like having been transformed and much more not only clear with an understanding of how what their spiritual potential is, but
Mhm.
having experienced it, like that, an experience of it. Like, what does it feel like to stand in my own power? And that's what I like to help people achieve. Not only for themselves, but it's a selfless kind of thing, because when you're in your power, you can support other people to be in their power. And when they start saying things that used to trigger you, you can be like, instead of being triggered, you can say, wow, I see how wounded this person is. Let me help them. So it
Yeah.
really changes instead of being guarded and like pushing you, like where you go back in or you retreat back into fear and fighting and struggling and or a downward spiral into self, putting yourself down. It allows you to be free and be big and spread your wings, and that's what it's all about. That's why it's called soar. So you can, that's another like that's the hidden meaning of the soar part. That's the soaring part.
Oh, I love it so much. Well, I'm so excited for St. George. For those of you who
Me
are just watching
too.
this, maybe you joined in halfway or something like that. I'm so excited because Dr. Mignon Walker is going to be at the St. George Energy Healing Conference in 2 weeks, May 3rd, at the Hilton Garden Inn. You guys will have to come and join us. And if
Absolutely.
you've
Come
not,
on down. Let's
let
have
us,
some conversations
yeah,
and let's gain, let's join together and change in the world. So come on down and learn what I'm doing and support Tammy. I love what you do and I love that you've been doing it so long. I was listening to you just the other day about this is the biggest energy healing conference network and I'm so happy to be a part of it. These are my people. So yeah, come on and I'm happy
yeah,
to I'm
spiritual
happy
doula.
to be with you and lift you up in any way I can. So let's do it. I'm 100% with you. I'm on your team. Yeah, so I can't wait to
Awesome.
meet everybody.
Awesome. Okay, well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see you guys there. And if you need anything at all, just give me a holler.
Yep, and let's get together. Don't forget, we're going to do some sessions, so let me know, and definitely before the conference, because so then you can go and really share like what it's like from as a client. But yeah, come to the website, come and reach out. I'm happy to talk to everybody. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Enjoy.
Okay, well,
Happy Easter. Enjoy the rest of this day. It's so beautiful. It's
I
like the
know I'm
trees
so
are in
excited right
bloom.
now. Okay. Okay, see you later. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Take care.